In addition to these access specifications, Java provides a third access specification that is called protected. So what is a protected member? A protected member of a class may be directly accessed by methods of the same class, similar to private and public, or methods of a subclass, similar to public methods that are inherited. In addition to that, the protected members may be accessed by methods of any class that are in the same package as the protected members class. So far, all our classes are in one package that is a default package. And if you want to define a class in a package, simply proceed the definition of the class by the keyword package followed by the package name. So if you define two classes in different packages and there is no inheritance, then none of these classes can have access to the other classes' protected members. However, when we have a subclass extended from a superclass with the protected members, then any method in the subclass can directly access these protected members, regardless whether these classes are defined in the same package or defined in different packages. A protected member is not quite private, because it may be accessed by some methods outside the class. Also, protected members are not quite public either, because access to them is restricted to methods in the same class, subclasses, and classes in the same package as the members class. So we can say that a protected member's access is somewhere between private and public. Although the protected access specification is an option available in Java, it is always better to make all fields private and then provide public methods for accessing those fields. If no access specifier for a class member is provided, if we don't write private, public, or protected, then this class member is given package access by default. That means they can be accessed only by classes defined in the same package. As an example of a superclass that has a protected data member, let me show you how we can access this data member when we have a subclass from this superclass. This example is just a copy of a previous example that we have discussed before. The superclass was a graded activity and the subclass was final exam. So what changes have we made? The first change that we have made is that in the graded activity, we changed the score data member from private to protected. The second change that we have made is that at the end of the constructor for the final exam, as you can see here, we are calling an extra method that we have defined inside final exam that is called adjust score. Before we have a look into the code inside adjust score, notice that to change the score that is inherited from a graded activity, since it is protected, then we can access it directly. As we have discussed before, that if we have a data member that is protected, then we can access this data directly in a subclass. So instead of set score, we can simply say score equal numeric score. Now let us have a look into the code inside adjusted score. The responsibility of the adjust score method is to round the score up to the next whole number as an integer. Notice that inside this method we are referring to score directly because score is defined as a protected data member and it is inherited by the subclass. If it was defined as before private, then to read the value we have to use the public get method, and to set or change the value of a score we have to use the public set method. But since we have it as a protected, then we can access it directly. So how it adjusts the score? So how this method adjusts the score? First, it computes the fraction. And you know that the fraction is equal to score minus the integer part of a score. Now then it will test for this fraction. If it is greater than or equal to 0.5, then it will round the score up to the next whole number by adding the difference 1 minus a fraction to score. So as an example, if a score is equal to 64.7, then a fraction is 0.7. And since 0.7 is greater than or equal to 0.5, then we will add 0.3, which is 1 minus 0.7, to score and the value will be equal to 65. To show you how protected members behave in a subclass, we are back now in JGrasp with the graded activity class definition. We will change this class. First, we will change the name to graded activity 2, and we will change the access specification for score from a private to protected. Now save the file, compile it to make sure that it does not have any error. Now let us go to final exam class. We will change the name to final exam 2, and this extends graded activity 2. Since we changed the name of the class, so we have to change the name of the constructor, and nothing will be changed inside this class except that we will add additional method that adjusts the score to the next whole number. We will call this method at the end of the constructor adjust score, and we will write the body of this method down in here. So public void adjust the score without any input parameter, and this is how we adjust the score to the next whole number. First, we need to compute, or we need to find the value of a fraction, which is equal to score minus the integer part of a score. Notice that we are accessing a score directly because it is protected, inherited from the superclass graded activity 2. And as we mentioned that if we have a protected members or data, then this member or data is inherited by subclasses, so we can access them directly. However, if we did not change it to protected, then we cannot access a score directly this way. We call get method for reading the value of a score, and we use set method to change the value of a score. So we need to check the value of fraction. So if a fraction is greater than or equal to 0.5, here we need to adjust the score and make it to the next whole number. To do that, we write score equal score. The missing part that makes it goes to the next whole number is computed by 1.0 minus fraction. And this completes the implementation for the adjust score. Let us save the file, compile it, make sure that it does not have any errors. Next is creating a demo application. We have already prepared one. This application will first ask for how many questions, then it will ask for how many missed questions, then it will create an object from final exam 2. After that, it displays the test results using the methods available in this object. Let us compile it, make sure it does not have any errors, and then run it. So as you can see, it is asking for a number of questions. We have 12 questions, we have 3 missed questions, and it prints each question counts 8.3 points. The exam score is 75 and the exam grade is C. Now let us test whether we can access a score from outside the class. We defined it as a protected. So what we will do, we will go after line 25, and here we will say system.out.println. Let us try to print the value of a score directly from the data member score using this object. So we say score is equal exam.score. So we are accessing a score directly from outside the class. Let us compile it and see whether we have errors or not. As you can see, we don't have any errors. So let us run the program. How many questions? So we will give it as before 12. How many missed is 3. So now as you can see, it is printing the value of a score. So that means it behaves exactly the same as public data member because we defined the class for the main program in the same package as the class for the superclass and basic class.